So I am really thrilled to be here, and I want to say thank you to Randy and to Will for inviting me. This is a passion of mine, so we had the data from Tony, but I'm going to give you a little personal viewpoint because I'm actually here to share with you this perspective because I'm a parent, most importantly. So on behalf of the Office of the Governor, I'm grateful that I have this opportunity, and I'm back close to my alma mater of Ohio U. So go Bobcats. How many are Bobcats out there? Anybody Bob? Oh my gosh, look at all the hands. Woo, I love it. Green and white. So one of my favorite quotes from the book of Proverbs I recently stumbled upon. We have a little thing in our kitchen that you can, a chalkboard, you can write a little quote. I put one in my kitchen here and there for our family to look at. And the quote that I found recently in Proverbs that really has stuck with me is, "Walk with the wise, because a companion of fools suffers harm." And I think it's a really powerful proverb. And I'm going to share with you some wisdom, I hope, that we can all walk with and share with others. So John and I like to read, and one of our favorite books that we've read over the past few years is called Coming Apart by a author, Charles Murray. Anybody read that book out there? It's about 10 years old. Really, really good book. If you're a reader, maybe write it down and check it out. But what he summarizes that's been happening in America, and I'm going to give you a little quote from the book. The American project is what we are living here, what our founders envisioned, was not about maximizing national wealth or international dominance. This American project was consisted of the continuing effort that was begun from our founders to demonstrate that human beings can be left free as individuals and families to live their lives as they see fit, coming together voluntarily, like we are today, to solve their joint problems. This polity was based on the idea of that to a civic culture. This was seen exceptional to all the world. That culture was so widely shared by all Americans that it amounted to a civil religion. To be an American was to be different from other nationalities in ways Americans treasured. And he believes today that culture is unraveling. And the question is why? So I'm going to share something with you that very few people know. As a matter of fact, I think probably only my family. I've never shared this publicly, and I might cry. I've lost 2 cousins to suicide. My first cousin, Chris, died when I was 17. He was 21. And my second cousin, Jim, otherwise affectionately known as Jimmy, died at the age of 51, and I was 46. I know I look 30, but that's okay. Both suffered from 2 things: a broken family and hopelessness. Today, the statistics of family togetherness are staggering. Divorce is at an all-time high, living alone at an all-time high. People feeling like they don't belong to a community is at an all-time high. Narcissism at an all-time high. Suicide at an all-time high. Your stats that you had up, Tony, 5 suicides a day in Ohio. One youth suicide in Ohio every 35 hours. None of this is coincidental. In my view, there are 2 things that have sharpened the steepness of the curve of our mental health severity: the broken family and digital device use. Jonathan Haidt, you probably have read some of his stuff. Jonathan Haidt, another great book that I highly recommend everyone read, is called The Coddling of the American Mind. So write it down and read it because it truly is one of the most eye-opening books I've read. And he is a social scientist from NYU, really, really talented, smart guy. He also wrote a article in the New York Times recently, you may have seen, The Case for Phone-Free Schools. We sent this to our new superintendent. Where's Paul? Paul, are you still over there? Paul was our superintendent. I'm actually an Upper Arlington resident. Our kids go there. Thank you, Paul, for your wonderful service those 10 years. We're very, very thankful for you. We have a new superintendent. Anyway, we shared with him this article. If you haven't read it, it was only a month ago, so please look it up and read it. You know, adolescents get 237 notifications today on their phone. That's a median. 97% of kids use their phones during the school day, 97%. So Jonathan Haidt attests that there is not much attention left over. Robin, you probably know this, over everything else. I mean, they're just distracted. Let's just face it. These stories have made me realize the power of social media, and I have needed to do something about it. The other thing that Jonathan Haidt said, that this is madness. Schools can give the kids 7 hours a day free from their phones every day for 5 days a week. We can do that today. We can make the decision today. He also wrote a book, Jonathan Haidt, a book called The Anxious Generation. It's not out yet. You should write that one down. It's coming out in April. We're hoping to get Jonathan Haidt here in Ohio to raise further awareness of these issues. So these statistics that he has brought to light has been very eye-opening to me, because the mental health curve in this crisis has started significantly from 2012 to today. And he believes that after 3+ hours of use of a digital device, that curve gets very, very steep. And I'm doing a seminar in Columbus on November 9th with other professionals, including a doctor from Nationwide Health, or Nationwide Children's, to address social media concerns in our youth. There's another lady that's coming from an organization called FASMA, Families Against Social Media Addiction. Her name's Christine, and she's going to speak. It's going to be a really great seminar, so if you live in the Columbus area and are interested in coming, please let us know. We'll get you some information. But you may wonder why I care so deeply about this, because from 2012 to 2023, it's exactly the range where our two daughters, who are now 14 and 16, have grown up with these digital devices. I have personally witnessed the addiction and struggle my own children have with it. And I've likened the studies that Jonathan Haidt has done, this 2012 to 2023, and this sharp curve after 3 hours, I liken it to kind of what we didn't know about cigarettes. We didn't know that cigarettes caused cancer and lung disease. We didn't know. We didn't know that this use of these devices were going to cause this mental health crisis. We didn't know. When I handed that phone to my daughter when she was 10, which was 4 years ago, when she asked me for a phone, I had no idea. And I'm going to tell you a story. Kylie is our younger one. So at 10, gave her the phone. She really wanted the phone. Everybody has a phone. And one day she came home from school. She was up in her room dancing, jumping around. And I went up and said, "What are you doing?" "Oh, Mom, just playing around, dancing." Okay. So being a good parent, later on, I'm like, "Oh, look around on the phone. What was she doing?" Because she was recording a video. And so I started looking around, and I came across this app called TikTok on her phone. And I thought to myself, what is this? I've never heard of this. And when I found the video, I was shocked. She was dancing around to this ridiculously profane music with the F word, and, lip syncing to the music, and I was horrified. So I immediately called my husband and I said, "We aren't doing this. This isn't going to happen in our family." And we immediately removed TikTok from both of our daughters' phones. They will never have TikTok until they're adults, and hopefully they'll never have it then. And that won't happen in our house. At 13, Kylie, 3 years, she just turned 14, so this is a year ago. She went to a friend's house for a sleepover, and they were all doing Instagram pictures and things like that. 11:45. Now, I want you to understand, I'm biased, but my 13-year-old daughter is a cute girl. She's a cute, sweet girl. She sends me a message at 11:45 p.m. Saturday night. I usually am asleep by then, but some reason I was awake. And it said, "Mom, why am I so different from my friends? They are all so beautiful, and I'm not." That's what she said. It's heart-crushing to a parent to know how beautiful she is, not just on the outside, but on the inside. She's a great kid. She shouldn't have to feel that way. And I'm sorry, but I blame social media. So this is why I've put restrictions and filters on our children's phones. They only have a certain amount of time to use the device. At 10 o'clock, the device is put down in our kitchen, and they have no access to the phone. The phone goes on shutdown mode from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. And I had to figure that out on my own, but it shouldn't be so hard for parents today. There should be one button. We should be able to walk into the phone store when we buy the phone. We say, "How old is your child?" You hit that button. That will protect them from this, this, and this, and this. This is why I urged John to do something. And so this last budget, you may have learned about the Parental Notification Act, which basically was passed. It won't be in effect until January 2024, but that act basically requires the parent of a 16-year-old or under to have to be notified and sign off of any kid downloading a social media app on their device. Now we're getting already lawsuits, I've heard, unfortunately. Why? Because we know that the advertisers, there's big dollars in this. But perhaps if there had been better awareness, maybe people like James Woods, anybody heard of James Woods? Or Braden Marcus, anybody heard that name? Both young men in Ohio were sextorted, both committed suicide within the last 2 years, right here in our state. So as adults, we must lead. I know this is heavy and it's hard to talk about, but we must be courageous. We have to be willing to talk about these things with others, stand up for what we know is best for each other, because courage is contagious. We can lift up each other, make Ohio and America a better, safer place. And I will leave with you again. Walk with the wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm. Let's not let our children suffer harm anymore. Thank you so much.